So thank you, Harsha, for inviting us. Definitely, this is a good opportunity for us to share some of our, rich experiences which we had. We are in this path from past 20 years, 20 plus years. And definitely it is lovely to share our personal experiences with all of you. And of course, always sharing is learning, along the journey. That's what we notice, always we learn from each other and to move forward in a spiritual journey. Yeah. So, Sister Mahaben, you want to just quickly introduce?
Shanti and good morning. It is so nice to meet the family. It is so wonderful. Though we can't see you all personally, but we can feel the vibrations of that gathering. Because there is just now I had a Murli, I read Murli for one of the class, online class. Baba is saying, so your specialities will grow when you meet others and you share, your powers, your love and then your cooperation with others, so that is what we personally feel. So it is so nice to be with you today, and then hope we can share something what we have experienced. We are not giving you any knowledge, but we just want to share what we have experienced. We have been with Baba in last 20 years, and then what we had gone through. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Let me start with how we came to Gyan and our journey in different phases, like in the godly childhood, and when we visit Madhuban, beautiful experiences we both of us had, and what kind of experiences, and when we shifted to Singapore. And Baba has really made our journey so smooth, and we started to involve in service. And last 20 years, quite a lot of things we learned, which we would like to share some of those rich experiences with all of you as well. So just to introduction about how we came to Gyan, when I was working in Malaysia, East Malaysia, Kuching, and that's where we came to Gyan. We were introduced to Brahma Kumaris. And I'm a person, totally different before coming into Gyan. I'm a person where a lot of, bhakti background. I don't know where it came from, the sanskars of bhakti, because none of my family members had that kind of bhakti, because I'm totally a devotee, kind of strong devotee. At one point of time, even my family people are afraid of is something is going to happen to him, because it's like every single day I used to spend at least a couple of hours every day morning to start with, all the puja and everything, any ritual person do. So it's a kind of, it's a search for God. I want to attain God. That's my ambition. And I don't know who he is, what he is, how he is, where he is, but I don't know, it's just a deep within. And, it's a way of like, everyday puja and all that. Even though when I was traveling, it's like until I go back home, even if it takes a day, I will not even touch to drink water also. So I need to take shower, I need to perform the puja and then drink the water and then continue with the rest of the day. So it's such a kind of strong devotee I was. And, it's like in Malaysia where we stayed, I was working for IBM, I was into IT field, and it was a fantastic job, a luxurious kind of life. And the center was opposite to our, where we stay, our home. And one day I asked Maha, Maha, can we just try it out, see and what they are going to teach? And she said, anyway, we are already practicing all other meditations, because I started practicing meditation in 1982, because basically I was into different meditations, all this Bhavati Dhyan, transcendental meditation, Siddha Samadhi Yoga, there are different variety of meditations. It's a kind of exploration. My whole journey is exploration. And after I get married with Maha in 1993, and since then, we also practice other meditations. And she said, why do you want to go? Anyway, we are practicing, we are happy with what we are doing. Then I said, it's nothing wrong. Anyway, it's free, free classes. So let's give it a try. Nothing wrong in experimenting and knowing other things. That's how we attended the course, the very basic course. And yes, the course was good to me because the knowledge was good. And Maha can explain her way of what's her view when we came to Gyan. But for me, it was quite good. The knowledge was good. And for me, as soon as the Baba's introduction part is over, after the karma philosophy, I started to feel a very good experiences in meditation. But more than knowledge, what hits me at the beginning was really, really meditation. As soon as I sit for meditation, it's like without any difficulties. I don't know what magic Baba has done on me. Even when I go to office, I used to come back for lunch. And during the 1 hour lunch, I used to meditate for half hour. And then I had my lunch and then go back to office. To such an extent, it just like, the meditation pulled me whenever I get time. And it's so smooth without any effort, without even knowing who God is. Truly speaking, I didn't even realize whether, Shiva Baba is God or whatever. It's just like, without even knowing, I started to enjoy meditation so much. And of course, it's during that point of time, Meera Didi from Malaysia, from Kuala Lumpur, she came there. And she started seeing us, attending regular classes. And I had the fortune of spending some time with her when she stayed a couple of days. I used to take her for public programs and all that. So I had a close interaction with her. So she asked both of us, she gave so much of love, so much of sustenance. And we were so touched with her kind of words and love. And she said, would you like to meet God? Would you like to go to Madhuban? Without any second thought, because I was really looking for God and to have that experience, I said, yes, of course, if you give permission, definitely we will go. And usually, as most of we have to have the practice of at least 10 months or 1 year, all the maryadas and discipline. But by then, we just are about 6 months or 7 months in Gyan when we visited Madhuban. So she gave us exception approval. And that's where we met Baba first time in 2001, December 31st. Yeah. So let me ask Maha to share her beginning experience intro to this Gyan, and before I continue further.
Shanti. Yeah, actually, yeah. So the Srinivas was sharing his experience of what his background before he come to the knowledge. Mine is totally different, the other end. Like I should say that my transformation has began when I was 14. First 14 years of my life was like a just playful kid. I'm not even interested in my studies much. Just I was very playful kid. And I failed my maths in my 10th standard. And 1 year I was sitting at home before going to college. And that is the year, that is the time has, it's like a blessing in disguise, and, it has transformed my life. I happened to read, because 1 year sitting at home doing nothing, then I started going to library and then, getting all sorts of good books. I never read any novels, but all the first book I have read is My Experiments with Truth, Mahatma Gandhi's life story, and then all the stories of the great leaders, and then so the many good books like Chellam, I think you might know, I don't know, some of you like Sri and then Tagore, and all the very inspiring books I have read, and which has changed my my view there then itself actually. Then I started my college, my junior college, and then my perception has totally changed. I used to enjoy wearing nice clothes and jewelry and all these things as a young child, but I adopted simplicity in my life, complete simplicity. I was not anymore interested in any kind of extra, like as Baba has mentioned today, no fashion, nothing. So that, I lost my interest in that, so, and then more of thinking beyond race, religion, country, so then I started having questions about this devotion, because of course, as a, traditional, family born and brought up in a very small village, and the parents are also, spiritual, not, maybe my father was so much into scriptures. He used to read a lot of scriptures, and he opened his mouth and he used to share something or other from the, he quotes something, then only used to speak from the Gita and then all the scriptures. So, but I started having questions. And one of my aunt, who is a widow, she used to ask me to read a lot of scriptures for her. and she wanted me to get into the devotion. So though she can read, she used to say, I can't see properly, I can't read properly, can you read for me? Then I used to read a lot of Shiv Puran and all those things. The more I was reading, that the question started in my mind, what is this? And everywhere in devotion there is so much of violence. There are wars between deities and devils, and even gods himself are so egoistic and angry. Like Shiva is so angry and then chop off the head of Ganesh, and then like Indra is so egoistic, and like all these stories has created a question, what is this? Is this, or all these are called gods and goddesses? So another thing, started reading newspaper. At the time I have that 1 year when I was at home, every day I used to read paper and used to see the sorrow. Though I myself personally never gone through any much sorrow in my life, but but I started seeing, because all the newspapers are full of sorrow and all the negative news, crime news. Then what is this world? One side there is a kind of disinterest, there is a kind of sorrow the world is going through, has created a lot of questions. On the other side, questioning about the devotion. So made me into, I have totally left devotion. I was never interested in doing any kind of devotional activities while I was growing. And then I lost interest in worldly, kind of, any kind of interest, So then I was growing, but I don't know the truth. I was started reading about every religion, but still I can't find answers. And you go to temple, I ask questions. Any priest come home asking questions. Even while wedding is going on, I used to stop and then ask the priest about, meaning, tell me the meaning of this, whatever the prayers that you are doing, and everything. I used to question everyone literally. So, but I was not at all satisfied with any of the answers from anybody. So that's how, then I happened to learn in my degree final year, I learned meditation. That didn't really given me much experience. Then I got married. Then after marriage, both me and Brother Srini had happened to attend another kind of meditation, which has really was into, I really enjoyed. I learned that meditation, at least, I used to enjoy. Brother Srini was too busy in his devotional activities. I was total opposite. But I used to just go to temples along with him, but not doing any kind of rituals, not at all. Literally, I never used to believe in any kind of rituals. I have reached to a state, maybe God is not existed. If God is existed, the world wouldn't have been like this. So if the father is there at home, parents are at home, they make sure that the home is well maintained, right? If the children, no matter how much mess they make, they will correct it. But there is so much mess is going on in the world. But why the God is not seem to be doing anything? So that's where I lost hope. I reached to a state, maybe God is not existed. The world itself is moving, so the nature by itself is moving. But then I happened to go, because Srinivas used to visit like Tirupati, Vijayawada, the temples and like anything, and I used to follow him. But because I am going to temple, sitting there in the corner, and brother was so busy in his rituals, so then I was standing there. I never even used to fold my hands, but talking to God. That's where that habit has formed, to talk to God. God, if you are there, are you there in these stone idols? Are you sitting somewhere up above? If you are not useful to this humanity, and then what is the point of your existence? I don't ask you to do any magic, but give everyone a good intellect, so that they can't, they don't perform such kind of actions which give sorrow. This is how, then once, Srinivas was going through some issues in his work, and also his guru, used to have a guru, and he's so devoted. And then guru has mentioned that you are going through some bad times. You have to, both you, wife and husband, must do some special prayers. Then he asked me, he requested me, though he never forced me to do any, but that period of time he requested me. I said, I don't have any faith by just offering flowers and this and all these kinds of things. It's like a children act, children playing. Like, for me, I have no faith. But I felt bad. Maybe he feel bad if I don't do. Then I was started doing for a namesake. But I used to tell God, if at all you are existed, I don't think you wanted all these things from us. But you tell me, anything you tell me, I will do. But you come personally and tell me. I don't know. I just used to speak to him like this. Then, but I never really thought that he would really come and then he will tell me what is the right thing. So that's where actually, okay, we happen to, Srinivas has already explained how we have, we happen to go to the center. But the day from the beginning, until that day, I have never agreed with anybody, any answers they give for all my questions. So I used to argue like anything with everyone, is like a discussion or like arguments about the knowing the truth, the strong, deep desire to know the truth. Then the very first day, the first lesson I have attended, I was just like spellbound. Then I was just sitting and then listening and then accepting everything without any second thought. any question, no questions during my course. I was just accepting and accepting and accepting that the very first lesson of the soul itself have given me a wonderful experience. When I listened that, the soul is an eternal being and then full of all virtues. When my teacher said, the sister, you are a pure soul. Your original nature is purity. Then that I felt like that purity within me that, started coming out, and then I could feel I had deep desire that day itself. I should lead a pure life. I don't know what is purity, but I should lead a pure life. I don't know what is impurity, but that day itself, I told Srinivai, why can't we live a pure life? And he agreed immediately, surprisingly. That's it. That is the day our life of purity had begun, and we never looked back, and we never even had any conversation about it, without even knowing that we have to follow celibacy or any other principles, maryadas. We have started in that way, and then each day, and then when I got the introduction of Baba, then I got convinced, yes, God could be point of light, is beyond birth and death. That is the reason we can't see him. So I got convinced, because until then I can't believe in God. At least I have accepted, though I didn't have any great experience with God in the second lesson, but I have finished, and the most effective lesson is the karma. It has brought a big change. I felt like, after listening to karma lesson, if there is any rubbish inside me, it's like a wiped off. I could able to see that, that positive side of life everywhere, in everything. So, and then 7 days course is like a big realization how we're really leading an enjoyable life, very luxurious life there at that time. I have everything, a cute kid, and so everything is there. But I felt the joy is much more different than what we experience through this physical means. I started experiencing that spiritual joy from within. And I feel like, I'm just feeling like I'm flying. That's all. I'm just flying. I don't know what's happening inside me. My life has completely transformed. And yes, after the course, and then the evening time we have taken, it took 3 weeks. Then after the 9 lessons, she has finished the course with 9 lessons. Then the sister has mentioned, that there is there's called Murli class. It will be 5:30 in the morning. But I am not a person who wakes up so early in the morning. I used to wake up around 6:30 or 6:45 in the morning. 5:30, at least I have to wake up at 5 o'clock, at least to take a shower and then go. It is just opposite only. But I felt I cannot come early in the morning. Okay, she said, okay, come at, maybe my son was in kindergarten. Okay, you send him to school around 10 o'clock. I used to go. 2 days she read Murli. And from 3rd day onwards, she started working. She said, I can't, read for you. Can you come at early in the morning? But I had a desire to go. There is something there. I don't want to miss out. Then I said, okay, I will go. Srinivas said, why to go so early? Then I said, no, I want to go. But brother, I asked brother to come also, but he said he has to do his puja. No, I can't miss my puja. So if you want, you go. Then I went for 2 weeks, I think. I went. Then one Saturday, I told him, why don't you come? He used to ask me every day what they said. I used to, tell him, okay, if you want to know, you come. So, but he also could see, that is the power, though I can't really able to understand fully. Of course, I understood the Murli. I'm not able to understand. I wasn't so good in English also at that time, because I just came from there, just few months. Nobody used to speak English in that city. Everyone speak only Malay. And all my studies were in my medium, Telugu medium. So the English, I know the grammar, but I can't really fluent in understanding and speaking. So the sister told me, just if you understand one point, that is good enough. That's how I used to take, but I used to take the Murli back, and I used to read and try to understand. Then one day the Srinivai came, and then early in the morning, and then he liked it, that early morning going and sitting in, there in meditation. And then he never stopped. Only for, I think, 2 weeks he came after me to the Murli course. We did it together, and then that's it. We started going, and then it's like all together, it's a totally different life. We are like flying, literally. And after 1 month, the center moved too far away. And then we used to drive. And then literally I can feel when we are driving back, we are not driving, we are flying. That was our experience to say that simply. So yeah, that's where after 6 months, everything we followed, because they have even started doing service in the center. I was even cooking, because the center was very new. There were only 2 more souls were there. So then they have allowed us to do every kind of service. And so before even going to Madhuban, I started cooking in the center, because they came to know that we are following purity naturally, and they didn't even forbid us to go to Madhuban. So within, I think, 7th month, we already went to meet meet Baba. And then the first experience in Madhuban, again, another, I don't know, can I share? The moment I stepped into the Madhuban, I have felt like I entered a different world. Earlier, I was at 4 a.m. We just stepped into the Madhuban. And so each day is like a different experience there. I don't know, I can't describe everything. But yeah, it's... but and again I should say that about the experience of Baba, most important part here is when they says in the last lesson, when Shiv Baba enters into Brahma Baba's body in order to give this knowledge, the first thought came, God can enter into someone's body just like that, the human being's body? One question came into my mind. But the very next question, in the path of devotion, people are believing God can be in the stones and God can come out of the pillars and walls, or anywhere. God can manifest himself and do this and do that. Why not God can enter into someone's body in order to speak knowledge? Maybe possible. That's it. But it maybe after a month or two, we are attending everyday Murali, then I developed that faith. It is not any human being. This knowledge is not from any human being. This is from God himself. Within a short while, we developed, both me and Brother Srini also developed that faith, not just a blind faith that as soon as somebody said that God has come, we accepted, but with the experience, through the knowledge, we have that recognition. That's why I feel our faith is unshakable. During these many years, we never, ever had shaken. So that was, okay, so let me stop here and then maybe pass it on to Srini Bhai, so let him continue.
Yes. So indeed, Baba had saved my life, I can say, because Mahaben's questions are like a train of questions, and I don't know what to answer to her. And after the course is done, everything what she had been looking for 20 years of her life, everything was answered. And she was so, we are like a North Pole and South Pole, completely opposite before Gyan. And then we started walking on the same track. And with much more joy, even though our life before that is like, luxurious life, everything was so well. But the joy that we are experiencing, I can't even describe. The love that Baba has been like, it's like a pouring on us. And every day, like we used to fly like anything. And I was a person at that time, I used to be so sensitive. So sensitive means, I will never ever hurt anyone. Even if someone says something, I used to think a lot. Why did this person say this to me? It's a very sensitive nature. And that has changed entirely, I can say. The whole personality has enhanced, Baba has really done wonders. And my first Madhuban experience, it's truly, even before going to Madhuban, I must say this as well, because I used to go to Murali classes, after 2 weeks, I finished the course. And then, every day I listen to the Murali class, come back home, and then use my dhoti to start the puja again. So listening to the Murali, come back, do dhoti, and then puja for 1 hour, and then go to office. It's because it's like my routine. And then what happened was after, I don't remember exactly, maybe 2 weeks, 10 days or 2 weeks later, one day after I listened, after coming back from Murali class, I just started, I just dressed up to go to office. Then Maha asked me, why didn't you, have you done your devotion? I didn't see you, you did puja today. I don't remember exactly what I said, but, when I can able to experience God practically in my life, I don't feel there is a necessity to really do a physical puja. And that's it. That's the last day of my devotion after, I don't know, about 30 plus years of intense devotion. And none of my family members believed it, because that's the core of me. And Baba had done that wonder. I think it just took me about nearly 2 weeks of Murali classes. And it gave so much of experience, especially, Maha was inspired after listening to the knowledge. For me, more than knowledge, what struck me is yoga. And the deep experiences, the moment when I sit down for yoga, it's just like as though I was pulled into the light and dwelling in that light and experience of love. Nothing more. And even if you ask me after 20 years, I need to make that effort to really get to that bodiless stage. But that time, I don't know what wonder, it's just quite natural. And that made me, there is something here. Even though there is no real recognition at that point of time, God is coming here. But that was the recognition what I had, realization after I visited first visit to Madhuban. And it was like, as Maha said, as soon as we stepped in there, we landed at around the Amrit Vela time. And everything, we don't even know. I don't even know where this Ahmedabad is, where Mount Abu is, because I never crossed, maximum like, only South India. Maybe one time I went to Maharashtra, nothing more. And we were not given full instructions and where and what. So it's just that Baba took us there. And every single day, like at the moment, it's like as though we are into different world. It's like a heaven on this earth. And, everyone was showing like, as though I'm meeting long lost my brothers and sisters. Like, everyone was so loving. And, at that point of time, I thought dadis were like a big, because I used to have gurus. I adopted couple of gurus, and one guru was so close to me. And there is always a concept of guru is like, you need to give a lot of regard, and you need to touch their feet and all that. And when I met dadis, it's as though I'm meeting my grandmother, because first time I met like, the Dadi Prakashmani, I don't know how many of you know, she's really, really, it's an embodiment of love. The moment when I looked at her, like, it's like, I'm just like, merge in her arms, like, as though she's my grandma. Even though on the back of my mind, she is the head of the institution, but I didn't feel that. So it's like, every dadis and dadas and, Madhuban and Gyan Sarovar, we don't even know what is Gyan Sarovar, where is Madhuban, and nothing, because no one had given any instructions. But Baba, like, he made it so easy. And every experience, and especially the very first meeting on the 31st December 2001, Baba talked about, couples. Particularly, it struck to me even till today. The moment when I remember this, I can't stop my tears. Yeah, Baba talked about, couples. What Baba talked about couples is, Mahamandaleshwars. Usually Baba has addressing all the people, right? Like, double foreigners, we also stand up. And of course, couples, we also stand up. And Baba was addressing on couples. And it was so touching. Baba had said this, like, even a big, Mahamandaleshwars, which is like, famous saints and famous Swamijis in the world, will bow down at your feet. At your feet of you are in Gruhastha ashram, you are in the family path, but they bow down to you. And I don't even know what he's talking about, but it struck me such a, it puts me in such an elevated state. I don't even recognize, how elevated we are at that point of time, but it gave me such an experience. I totally lost in God's love. And that's the time, I took the decision. And of course, Maha is always cooperative in that sense. She already decided, and this is what the reality in the life. And it gave us that experience of real presence of God. Because we heard about classes of, Dadiji, Dadi Guljar. And when Baba comes, it's totally, totally different. And even we met Dadi afterwards, and she gave so much of love. And, even without even knowing, I asked, just a small group we met, and we asked Dadi, we came at the last minute, we know there isn't much time. And if I want to catch up with the time, what is the easiest effort that we can do? Because we don't have much time. And what she told me, even till today, I'm practicing that, though it may not be so regular, but this is always giving me a lot of enthusiasm whenever I remember. What she told me is, you just practice bodiless stage, ashariri sthiti, at least 8 times in a day. You don't have to do anything. You just read morally, basic principles and maryadas you follow. If you can able to practice bodiless stage 8 times in a day, that makes you to catch up with the time you can able to reach the destination on time. And the way that she puts it, it like, it gave me such a kind of energy that I must do this no matter what. So likewise, like, every Dadi, and likewise we met Dadi Janki first time. And, it's like a Dadizi, like, the knowledge is like a pouring like a fountain, it never ending, how you need to lead a life, in the family growth. She gave, you need to be a trustee and all that, that's where, like, Dadizi's knowledge is like a never ending fountain, and which was inspiring, so much of inspiration. And both of us, we decided, yeah, this was real, and we had the experience of God, and God himself is coming. And to be very honest with you, until then, I did not really believe 100% that God is really coming. Though all the experiences last 8 months is so enriching, but it didn't strike me to that realization that God is here, God is coming here. And that was the first time when we met Madhuban, when we went Madhuban. And then after that, we came back to, Singapore. That was since 2001, Singapore, like last 20 years, we were living in Singapore. And as soon as we came to Singapore, it was another series of kind of like, everyone was so loving, and they looked at us like, so young couple, and they're so kind gyan, and, they gave us all the opportunities to do surveys. And, it was interesting thing happened when we came to, Singapore, because it's a good thing to share with you, because, how we are stable in drama. This could be one experience what we had. We came to Singapore, every time, especially in Singapore, when you want to hire when you want to rent a place, because I don't have any house, so I need to rent a place. I need to pay 2 months rent in advance, and to get it signed, the agreement, and before occupy the house. So I paid 2 months rent, and, I gave him 1 week to do some final touch-ups and renovation, and to do painting and everything. And the company gave me, 2 weeks of accommodation in a guest house. Then, Maha, and along with my son, who is about 6 years old at that time. And we took all our luggage. We went to occupy the house, because it's a properly, it's an agreement signed, and I collected the keys. Then when I opened the door, house, there was some other couple inside, other families inside. They were shouting at me, because they thought I'm a thief, because I opened the door, and then I was entering the house, and they shouted at me, how dare are you to open the house and you're coming in? Then I said, sorry, I rented this place. They told me that they rented the place. They are a family with small kids. And it was a shock, because where to go? Because, we are with the family with all the luggage. And they say that, then I called the owner, and the owner didn't pick up the phone. It's not reachable. Don't know what to do. And then came back, because, they also showed me, we also rented this place. See here, the agreement, the same signature, the same agreement, but it's a different agent. Then I came back. And then, I explained this to, the instrument at that point of time, which is Bharati Band. And I was looking for another house, because, I need to, live somewhere, right? So, and whether you believe me or not, either myself or Maha, we never ever had any kind of, why this had happened, what to do, any confusion in the mind. No, every single thing, it was so clear, everything happens for a reason. And we are so Pakka in drama, accepting the scene as it is. And again, I didn't take this as a, sometimes we say, I shouldn't take any incident or anything in a passive manner. Whatever has happened, but I need to take action. So I went to the police station, I gave the police complaint, I followed it through. I didn't take it as a passive manner, oh, this is my karma. No, I take the action, and I called my director, and director also called the investigation officer and to do whatever necessary. And in the meantime, one of the sister center, who comes as a student, she said, Srinibai, if you want, because I had another second house, I can rent it to you. So without any, Baba made it so easy. Within 2-3 days, we managed to get another house. We occupy another house, and, all that. But again, all these things, I got my money back after a couple of months later, but whatever it is. But what I'm saying is, there are a couple of incidents happen sequentially, like, one after the other. And before this incident, there was another incident happened in Malaysia where we lost all our, important documents, certificates, and every single thing was, in a folder. We lost that folder in an airport. And that was a big thing, because that was the time where I need to apply, send all the certificates to Singapore Ministry of Manpower. And I have nothing, because all that whole folder, including all the necessaries, important things, the whole folder was missed. And again, myself and Maha was, chit-chatting, like, there must be some reason, Baba always says, no, drama is beneficial, but let's see what is going to happen. We never shake with the things. That was a very interesting thing, because Baba says everything happens for a reason, but let's see what is going to happen. And of course, eventually it was it was to our advantage, because the scene has revealed. I got my things back again, after, I don't remember, 4 days or 5 days later. Someone got this, and then they handed over to us, based on some details around. And finally I got those things, and the drama had revealed another beneficial scene within itself. So a series of incidents, when you surrender to Baba, and having that purity in my mind, Harsha Bhai also said, like, not just celibacy, that's just a physical aspect which anyone can follow with a little effort. But the bigger thing is, am I able to have that purity in my mind, in my heart? No matter whatever the people are doing, whether who is wrong, who is right, doesn't matter. Am I able to maintain that, absolute purity in my feelings, in my mind, in my interactions? And that has really, gave a lot of experiences in different ways as well. Especially when I had a tough time with one of my friend. Maybe let me share this experience. I had, one friend, very tough time I had, because he's my colleague and he reports to me. And of course, he's so egoistic, and I couldn't able to work with him. And I as though I was thinking myself, I'm tolerating. Maybe outwardly I'm tolerating, but inside it was really burning. Why this person doesn't understand me? Every time he's giving trouble to me, and which is causing a trouble in my deliverables, in my projects. So it was a tough time, and I don't know how to handle. At one point of time, I shouted at him. Even after knowing Gyan for a couple of months, even though, it's like after coming back home, I reflected, really, what did I do? Am I the one who shouted? It just, because one of the sisters was sharing one story. Maybe some of you know, probably. The story is like this. It's one sister used to come to, course, attended the course. And she had a tough time with her boss in her office. And she shared all the things with the center Nivasi. I had a tough time. He never understand. He used to scold me in front of everyone. And I can't survive in this job. I want to quit this job. And St. Srinivasan, the teacher said, like, no, you have to be so, you need to have good wishes and pure feelings. This is the good opportunity for you to experiment. And of course, she wanted to experiment. And what she used to say is, good morning, sir, good evening, sir. And whenever her boss goes to pantry, she used to follow with him. And then, of course, she used to, go one step ahead. She used to prepare coffee, tea to her, just to become close to her, thinking that she is having good wishes on him. So she used to serve coffee, tea as well. Even then, the relationship between them doesn't flourish, and it has become worse even. And she felt like, your good wishes and pure feelings that Brahma Kumaris are teaching is not working. And the relationship with him is even worse today. Then teacher has asked her, can you observe deeply when you are preparing the tea, coffee, when you're serving the things, what is in your heart? What is it going on? What were your feelings? Can you observe? And surprisingly, she noticed that even though physically she is serving, in her heart, she's scolding him literally, like anything. It's like even at my home, I'm the king, I'm the queen. And at office, I'm literally serving him as a servant. It's like literally scolding him inside. Then she realized, what am I doing? Physically, I'm doing, but inside, every feeling is, embedded with such a negative energy. And after I heard this story, and deeply the same thing happened in my life as well. Even though I was tolerant with this guy, and so much of negative feelings, this guy is making me missing the deadlines and everything. And I really experimented with it. Whether you believe it or not, it took me about not even 3 weeks. Really, I erased all the feelings on him completely, and so much loving as though he's my long lost brother. Really. And each one is different. Each one's role is different. So let me completely accommodate, and let me generate the pure wishes, good wishes on him. And whether you believe it or not, within a month, entire change, complete change. And that's the time onwards, he will be my right hand within the team. It's a couple of examples like that, like, how good wishes and pure feelings works like a magic. And of course, in Singapore, because at that time there is no Telugu service, and obviously we became an instrument to establish the Telugu service. And we used to conduct a lot of retreats, and reach out to the people, and lots of people used to come for courses, and all that. It was flourishing like anything. And of course, whenever, because I was into project management, and the challenge comes, because every time there is a project lunch, project dinners, and obviously every time there is a challenge whenever there is a project dinner and lunch. This is where Harsha is talking about, where can I draw a line? How can I balance this, both laukik and alaukik? Because for me, this is also important. And of course, I can't compromise on the disciplines. And it's very interesting. And that's the time where we had a lot of network in Singapore, a lot of friends, and we used to meet every weekends, and whenever there is a birthday functions and anything, they used to invite us. We used to invite them as well. If we invite them, no problem, because Mahaben used to cook for, 30, 40, 50 people as well. And she's a very good cook. And how we used to balance was very interesting. It's whenever someone invites us to their, the birthday function or whatever, I used to check with them, what food are you order from outside? Chapati, whatever, special dishes and everything, paneer masala, whatever, all that. And I used to tell to Maha, this is what they are ordering, and this is what. So she used to prepare exactly the same dishes, maybe 2-3 curries, and, maybe some, biryani or whatever. And we used to take it with us, and attended those functions. We never used to miss anything. We still be in the gathering. We used to be, as though we don't want to, because that's how we had that opportunity to reveal, to share some gyan, for them, to share Baba's message. And with that, there are couples also emerged. And there are couples even in US today, Brother Malik and Sridevi, maybe some of you know, and emerged in Singapore, actually, the very first couple. And, we used to attend, and that's how we used to balance. So nicely, she used to keep those dishes along with them. And as though we are sharing and everything, and they don't know what we are taking. And so we used to balance in that manner. And even then, even at office, I never ever miss even project dinners as well. Because I don't want that, once you go to BK, people will be isolated. So I was so cautious not to create any kind of negative feeling about BKs. So because I myself is a project manager, I used to arrange project dinners and lunches as well. I used to go with them. And of course, I'm very, very cautious in that sense. I never ever compromise my discipline. At the most, I used to take, salads and fruits. And I used to be in the gathering. I used to make jokes and everything, jovial. And of course, I used to mingle with everyone. And that had made very good respect for them. Because people had sometimes, habitual kind of, some special diet kind of thing. So people take it very, positively. I never ever had any challenge or problem when I go to these kind of gatherings, because I used to mingle with them. I used to crack jokes, and whenever there is an opportunity, slowly reveal those things. People go through some kind of problems. Whenever someone talks about it, I used to bring some Gyani context. And people say, yeah, can you share some more little bit? Can you elaborate? What does it mean? So that puts that creates a kind of interest in the people, and where they want to, attend course. I still remember, when I was newly attending the, Murali classes in Singapore, and it has created such an inspiration in my whole team, and the whole team came to, attend the course as a big army. I still remember Bharati used to say to me, hey, you are bringing a big army to the center. It's nothing, because, I just used to share some of Baba's Gyan, and they liked it so much. And the whole team came to, finish the course. But of course, not many continue, of course, they had their Laukik stuff anyway. So at least, I managed to, give them the Gyan context. And so likewise, there are a lot of stories. Maybe I will leave to Maha to share some of the, challenges that we faced when we go to our place's hometown. There are a lot of challenges, a lot of oppositions at home when we go back to India, for holidays. Maybe I will let Maha share on that. Maha, can you share some of the interesting things which they can benefit from?
Shanti. So yeah, so initially, for me, it is a knowledge which has struck me a lot. So, but then I started doing, because we have closed eye meditation we used to do. Now it's the open eye meditation. So I got convinced that God is a point of light, and but not like Srinivas during course time. I used to only during traffic control. The 3 minutes of 7 o'clock song, so morning 7 a.m. song, used to give me a wonderful experience. But when I sit at home, so it is an effort. But we really put it in so much of effort. Every day, 3 times a day. Amrit Vela, I started waking up, very soon. I think within 15 days of knowledge, and then stop watching movies, because I have realized that it's affecting a lot. When I wake up in the morning, then whatever I watch, those scenes are moving in my mind. I felt God is giving us such an elevated, showing us such an elevated path. Should I waste my energy for, in watching all these things? So, and then we never have the habit of eating food outside. I'm always home cook. I never used to like eating food mostly. I used to find it may not be so hygienic, and eating in the hotels and all the restaurants and all. So that part became very easy. And then purity we started following. So all the maryadas became very, natural part of our life. We never struggled. We never had any, second thought, even to give up, onions and garlics. After 1 month only, I came to know, because the sister was so careful. We are very young couple, and she doesn't want to give too much. But when I came to know, as soon as then whatever onions I have, I threw. But I didn't even really, felt any missing of anything. So then the disciplines became very natural part. and then Gyan, and then within a month or two, then I started recognizing this from God himself. And then that is where my meditation started becoming better. When I recognized, through knowledge, that the love I started experiencing through the Murli, the way Baba speaks with so much and so much of love, and then I started having, because nowadays there are commentaries, there are virtual videos and everything, but those days nothing except that Baba's picture with the point of light on the wall, and no commentaries. Only during the course, and they have played few commentaries. Other than that, at home we used to use our own intellect to connect to Baba. So that has made us firm actually to have that experience with our own practice. And then Baba started giving, after in the first my Madhuban meeting, I had a wonderful bodiless days experience. And then after I moved to, but still I have a question karma philosophy. I got so convinced with the karma philosophy. I used to think, for everything, there is another senior sister used to say we should thank for everything, because I don't have any bhavana of bhakti. I know people who have a bhavana for the path of devotion, it's a different story. But for me, everything is logical. If I get convinced logically, then only I used to accept anything. Then I was so convinced by karma philosophy, then I started accepting. But one sister said we should thank for everything to God. But why should I? If I have to thank for, I am having something, if I have to thank for God, but somebody do not have, they can blame God. Why God you have not given me? If we consider that God, everything is given by God, but the poverty people are going through, the problems people are going through are also given by God. How can they thank God? This kind of logical, thinking was there. That one day, but my son was after moved to Singapore, he started going to primary 1. So I sent him as an afternoon school. One day I sent him to a school, and then I came back, and then I was ironing. While I was ironing, I was just listening to Baba's song. There was a deep, deep, deep pull. Very strong pull, like as if Baba is pulling me. Then I stopped, I turned off my iron, and then I went into Baba's room. We always used to make sure keep one room separately for Baba. And then I went around, I think 2 o'clock or 2:30. I sat in the room. It was 6:45. I have to go to pick up my son from the school. And I sat, Baba had given me a wonderful experience. I don't know, I became bodiless. And then there was a story, I don't want to go deep into it, what the experience Baba had given me. But the tears are pouring out for hours, few hours continuously. And that has changed my life. And all the ego, got melted away, I felt. Then that is the surrenderance, the feeling of surrenderance and accepting Baba completely. And then that's it. So I never ever had never shaken. Like as Brother Srini has mentioned many examples, and we had so many had gone through, and the much serious things in our life we had faced. I used to ask Baba for problems. I never ever asked Baba to take away my problems, but I always used to ask Baba, give me challenges. Then only I will come to know whether I am how strong I am in this path. And then sometimes when somebody used to say, oh, please do not ask. Some of them, some of the sisters used to say, please, how can you ask problems for God? But that we have seen much more severe problems. But we were so stable, both me and Srinivai. And everything we consider, we never even consider to be, I never consider any problem or situation to be a karma, but I consider it to be a test paper. So then whether I am passing or failing, that's all. The situations will come and go according to the drama. So we never used to relate that this problem is mine. No, this is a situation I am studying, and I'm a student here, and this is a test paper for me, whether I passed or failed. No matter what the external situation may be, I used to check internally, I am calm and I'm stable. So I have seen comparatively, I am stronger, but Srinivas was so sensitive. For small things also used to take it, internally so much. But, I have seen him is also, seen him really for me, seeing him is such a stable stage, it's like a great transformation. That knowledge which Baba gives really, I don't think anywhere else we can, have this experience. So, okay, so when it comes to the service part, so only desire after I moved to Singapore, in Malaysia also in the center we used to do whatever services there, but when moved to Singapore we really started involving. And actually I have no idea that I should give this, I should conduct courses and so become a teacher in this path. But unknowingly Brahma has pulled us into the service. And only desire I used to have, I am not much interested in going to the golden age at that time, but the love which I have experienced, which I have been experiencing from Baba, the love, truly I can feel, the kind of love Baba is giving me. I wanted everyone. I used to feel every single human being has a right to experience God's love. We know the love of human beings, and my family is very loving, both my side and Srinivai's family, and all are very loving and very nice people. But despite, I felt the love from God is really unique, and no human being can give that love. And I used to feel that every single human being on this earth should experience God's love. That's where the desire for giving God's introduction, as I created a kind of fire inside me. Then I used to feel like I never used to leave a single person. Srinivai was very quiet. Unless they are interested, he never used to speak knowledge. But for me, I never used to leave a single person without giving knowledge. And then first time when I went to India, then I went to India. Within, as soon as I recognized, I told you, right, about 2 months time, I have recognized Baba. Then I started writing letters. Those days, calling is a very expensive, 20 years back, so to speak knowledge for hours and hours. But I used to write letters to everybody. God is coming, and you all go to centers and do this, do that. I used to tell them, everyone, my aunties, my mother, my sister, my parents, my aunties, and everybody. I used to write letters, long letters, and everyone started considering she has gone crazy. Nobody used to respond. So after 6 months, went to India, and then day and night, I not used to let them sleep until midnight, 11, 12 o'clock. So I used to make them sit and speak knowledge. And everyone used to think that I had gone crazy. And, and somehow all my maryadas, I never want to eat food, even my mother's hand. I want to cook my own food. And then I was the youngest in the family. I never used to cook. I never learned cooking. Actually, I never used to cook. And my mom and my sister were very good cooks. And two of my aunties are also with us. And they always there to take care. Even before or even after marriage also, I never went into the kitchen after, only in my home, but when I go home, I never used to cook. And, so they also used to say, you are not good, it's okay, leave it. But I wanted to cook everything, and I wanted all the clean pots, the pots which are cooked non-veg and all, I don't want. Then that's where they all got upset actually. And you are still young, you are not even 30-year-old, and then why do you want that such a deep, spirituality? Why you want to go such deep? If you want to practice something, you practice. Why do you want to be so strict in this? If you don't want to eat onion garlic is fine. Why you do not want to eat, anywhere, and like all these things, and then purity they came to know at this young age. Why do you need to follow purity? My father has said, I too became, I got so disinterested when I was 18, because he also used to use scriptures from the childhood. But living in this society, it is not easy. I got married and I got into, everything, so it is not easy. He advised. But I know for me, only one faith. It's God himself is saying. Maybe your knowledge is from the scriptures. But I can feel that strength and, the support. And I challenged my father, and I challenged everyone. No matter even 1 crore people come against to me, I am not going to leave this path. I was only 6 months old in Gyan, but I had such a faith that I am not going to leave this path. So I was just announced, in front of everybody. Everyone used to gather and then start questioning. And my sister especially, and my brother had given me a hard time. My sister started pulling me out. Years and years later also, she started pulling me out of this path. She has a fear, maybe our family might break and something might happen. No, they're going innocently, we are believing, and know that in the name of spirituality, people are cheating. And then so she had a fear that something might happen to us. And then so argued. Finally, after 7 or 8 years later, she started seeing that, the change. We are so peaceful, calm, and then our in-laws and everyone is so loving. They're giving me so high regard, especially after came to Gyan, and everyone becoming so loving and so respectful. They are listening to me. Whatever I say, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law, they are listening to me. Previously, they used to feel bit, your elder daughter-in-law should be like this and like that. But afterwards, every year I'm going around, so and then knocking at the doors and then calling people and then giving courses, and then they have given me complete freedom. Nobody, even in my in-laws place, so even though I'm not staying at home, going around all the villages, and so, but and then people coming and sharing, oh, your daughter-in-law is giving such a wonderful knowledge, this and that. Many people, many doctors, and even many business people have taken courses, and they used to go and tell my father-in-law, oh, your daughter-in-law is giving such a wonderful knowledge. And then my father-in-law also got convinced. My mother-in-law was very happy with me from the beginning. She's the first one to listen to my knowledge. She used to say, oh, we are in ignorance, and then please share. No, my parents said nobody used to listen, but my mother-in-law was the first one, and my co-sister, Srinivasan's brother's wife. So they started listening to me and accepting. So my sister started observing, so the change, why everyone is giving her so much of love, and then whatever she's doing, they're accepting. Then she started, she attended the course, and then she was into social service a lot, and then she became Lions Club president at that year, and she invited all the Lions Club members, and then she asked me to give course in the Lions Club itself, and then she became very strong. And then now she is also very strong, and then now doing a lot of service. Actually, my mother, many of my aunties, my cousins, many became Brahmins before even my sister, after 1 or 2 years. But first year when I went, I was so interested. I went to the nearby center. There was a Gita Pathshala only. There were no proper centers. And then when you should come to our villages, my village, my in-laws village, my auntie's village, I asked them to, I invite them and must give courses here. But they came but nobody really shown but much interest. And then the following year, after 1.5 years, after 1 year again, I went every November, December, my son has school holidays, 2 months I used to go. And then, so then I asked the sisters and said, no, nobody is listening. If they wear white saris and come, we went around all your villages, but nobody is showing interest to listen. And you go and you give knowledge. But I have to go back to Singapore. It's okay if if they wanted to attend Murli classes, we sustain them. But you give courses. I was 1.5 years old in this Gyan. I do not even know how to give courses, but I have my enthusiasm. Baba has really pushed me. But first 2.5 years, I felt like I was in a kind of trance-like state. My mind, nothing but knowledge. No one, not even a single waste thought. Continuously knowledge is being churned in my mind. And then somebody or other comes into my mind, I'm giving 7 days course. For everyone, I was giving 7 days course in my mind. That's where I have learned how to give 7 days course actually. Then I started knocking at everyone's door and then giving them a little bit of knowledge. My mother was not at all happy. But when these people started praising my mom, they used to say in the villages, the parents are fortunate if the children are, knowledgeable, children are, doing, good in their life, so she has such an elevated life, your children are leading. And then when they started praising, then mom started accepting. And some my aunties, my cousins, at first they were so afraid of this path, but then when they start listening to the knowledge, they all started accepting. And then that's how we opened Gita Pathshalas in first 4 villages. We have opened Gita Pathshalas, and then the sisters started. And I used to go and give course every year. I used to give courses and then gather people, and then they used to be a few people are ready, 10, 15, 20 people started attending Murli classes. The sisters used to go and then run Gita Pathshalas. One room is enough for 10, 15, 20 people, right? We used to give one in Srinivasan's house, have one room, and then my auntie's place, given one small Gita Pathshala, and then my place also now in my parents' place also running. And like that, once we started doing service first 2-3 years, then many people get prepared, and then they started calling to different villages. Oh, my relatives, village, they wanted like that, they started calling me. And then, so how Baba has really used, we do not know. If we look back, I don't know how we had gone through this journey. The boy, 5-year-old, when we came to Gyan, and I never missed a single day Murli, both me and Brother Srini. I don't know how I managed. When I look back 20 years of my spiritual journey, I felt Baba had done some magic. Just Baba has used us as an instrument. That's all. We never felt it's life is difficult, the spiritual path, in terms of maryadas, in terms of problems, in terms of taking care of the family with a small kid. Nothing actually. I felt Baba wanted us to use, and then he has done. We have not done anything. I felt we have not done anything. And even in Singapore, I told you that I was not good in English. Even to understand Murli is difficult, but within 3-4 years, Baba pushed me into English service. And then when I was in Malaysia, after 15 days, I attended Murli. And then unknowingly, now outside, nobody else will speak English except in the center. The center of sister was working immediately after Murli. We used to go back home. But 2 weeks, I listened to the Murli, and then I started speaking fluent English. It was like a magic. One day, Srinivas was surprised. How come you're speaking English? Because I used to connect words and then speak, then suddenly started speaking one day. And like another miracle, Baba wanted me to use, wanted this soul to use in service. And then in Singapore, there are many, tourists used to come. It's a tourist place now. Many tourists used to come. And we used to have one shop called Baba's, shop, yoga shop. And many visitors used to come. They used to ask, oh, I am free during the day, so can you give me course? Nobody was there. Everyone was working. Then one sister I have mentioned, so many of them are asking for courses. Why don't you give? I was surprised. I am giving English courses. So then that's where I started giving courses to the foreigners, and from all over the world, most from the all the continents, I have given courses in English. Then I became a regular English teacher. And then that's another interesting story. Once we visited one of the sister, none of the Telugu speaking souls were there at the time in Baba's path. It's in Singapore. There was one sister, but Tamil speaking. She knows Telugu. She is Telugu background, but she born and brought up in Tamil Nadu. She can't read and write, but she can just speak some mixed Tamil. And she took us to one Telugu shop, Telugu grocery store in Singapore, and they asked, what services are you offering in Telugu? And that's how we started Telugu service in 2004. So, and then that's where the first couple, there are two couples in US now, Brother Gautam and Sister Shanti, and then Brother Malik and Sister Sridevi were here and there, and then there many people have created many Telugu service. That's where we got kept here. Maybe initially we thought of coming to US only. We're supposed to be in US. There are some issues came up, and we happened to go to Malaysia for a short while, and then we happened to move to Singapore, and then because of the service, Telugu service, we have created and we have to sustain. So Baba has hold us here, and that's how so yeah. And so the service has been increasing, and then recently maybe Father Srini will share with you the online service how we have started actually recently, which is another wonderful part, how Baba uses really us. If he has something, and then he will make use of it, then he will do miracles. It's not we. I feel over a period of time I have not done any service. Baba just simply used us as instruments, and then he is doing miracles. That's all. If the souls have part, and they will come. If they do not have, they don't come. It is not that I have done a good service, it's because of me. It's nothing. Literally, if they have part, and they will come, and then Baba will use someone or other. If you are ready, and then Baba will use us, as his hands. That's all. That is what my personal experience is. Okay.
So a couple of things that really touched me is, right. So if you remember, some of you might be in yesterday's session with Atam Prakash Bhai. He was telling about how to have volcanic yoga. And one of the things, if you remember, he mentioned that you can have this volcanic yoga when you sit in your self-respect, right? And Baba is not just giving gyan. Baba is invoking that self-respect within us. So one of the things, if you remember, when Srinivai was telling, Baba told, as a part of the Murli, when he first went in December meeting, he was talking to couples, and he was telling that you, one who is following Grihastha Ashram, Mahamandaleshwars come and then fall on your feet. And for those who don't understand Mahamandaleshwars, they are equivalent to, like they hold the position like a pope in Hindu philosophies. And those are the people who are going to fall on your feet. And just imagine what kind of self-respect invokes within the soul, right? And I just want to give a little quick pause, and Manaben and anyone else, if you have any questions you want to ask, feel free to raise your hand, and I can unmute yourself.
I have a question.
Yes, we have Sukanya Ben here.
How did the children cope up with Gyan as well as their friends and schooling and that life?
The current generation, especially, maybe the previous generation is totally different, but the current generation are exposed too much to the world outside. Yes, it is not that easy. Yes, he was in Gyan from the, until he grown up until 15, 16, he used to come regularly. Then afterwards, slowly, because we have never forced, I used to read for him about every religion, because he should know. He was not interested in reading, but he used to always ask me to read. So the afternoon when he come back home, so he always used to spend time with him. We, very carefully used to balance, so no matter how much we involved in Baba's service, but we used to be careful in, accompanying him because he's a single child. But of course, the world, he is a very intellectual, and then he believes in science, and now he is not really following this path. One side, because he had countless times he had been to Madhuban, he used to attend from the children's retreat to youth retreats, and then almost until he was last 4 or 5 years back, he used to come to Madhuban. After he went to UK, he didn't come, but actually last year he came once again. But now he's not really following this path. But he still says, that I could see some power, something else. It is not Gulja Dadi. because he had countless experiences being, with Baba. Though he still says, there is a power I could feel, but internally, but he's too intellectual. He believes in science too much. And so certain things, only question he has mainly, if God should create heaven for everybody, that question, actually he says, why Baba should benefit only few people every time, Baba should benefit everybody. So somehow, but he does his own way of meditation, but he's not really following this path, or he never force, unless they're interested, we shouldn't. But he used to have so much of interest, many years he used to jump out of the bed to come to class. Actually, he used to come every Sunday, and whenever is possible, even morning Murlis also used to come. But yeah, we have done whatever we can as a parents. It is his choice. Now he had grown up, he just started working. He finished his studies and he came back, he started working. It is, we are open to whatever, accept. We never forced, insisted him to follow this path. But when he was young, I used to share about not only Baba's knowledge, share about every religion. Now you choose what is the right thing.
But
Yeah,
I'm sure you see some difference between his friends who do not have spiritual knowledge and himself. The qualities he must have inherited.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, sister, definitely, because he's the person, because he introduced when he was about 5 years old, and the core values and everything was there, but we never forced him, even when he was young, to come to the Murli classes. But he used to just jump out of the bed, and every day he used to come to the classes. I think when he gets into the teenage, that's where I think he started to see the other side of the world. And but still, whenever he sit down for meditation, he always used to shed tears, and Baba has said this, said that. I mean, lots and lots of experiences. But I think that was slowly faded away. And I think when he was studied engineering in UK, that's the time I think he developed his own mindset. Yes. But again, as Maha said, we never forced him, but whenever there is an opportunity, we always remind him, just to, at some point of time, he will be back. So, yeah, I mean, he knows Baba, and he has been to Madhuban number of times, but not really following 100% of whatever the disciplines. Yeah.
He has his own role.
Yeah. Sorry, yes. Sister?
No, I'm saying he has his own role.
Yeah, probably. Drama. Yes, sister.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But since he has learned,
he will bring spirituality into science eventually.
Yeah.
At the
that's
right
time. To say.
What you said is absolutely right, sister, because that's what he used to say. Because he's too scientifical mind, and he's a very research-oriented person. And he says, this has to combine together. That's where it has to be revealed to all the people, not to the set of people. So, probably, yeah.
Baba is touching him in a different way, at a very different level.
Thanks for your blessing.
Yeah. But the meditation which he has learned, even now, sometimes he would like to come sit overnight, and even 8 hours sometime back, he can sit. Immediately he can disconnect from everything, and then connect, whether he's connecting to Baba and what he's doing, I don't know, but he can sit for hours even now. So that power is there, actually, whatever he learned as a child.
Yeah. Otherwise that soul won't come to you.
Yeah, one day the time will reveal, so they also will learn when right time comes, actually.
So Manaben has a question. So Manaben.
Anji, Om Shanti. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I have a daughter, she's 10-year-old. And so just my question would be related with that. And you were explaining Sister Sukanya also right now. So Harsha Bhai also had asked the question, how do you know how much is enough when you're investing time in the family? How much is enough? Is that very intuitive? Do you go with your instinct and you realize, okay, this is what I've given time, now it's time for other seva? Or did you have a timetable, like a fixed time, okay, this much time? Because as you said, your child was a single child, and children, when you're growing up, they are like a pit. How much ever you give, they keep on asking, and you keep on giving. So that balance, this is enough, I've done it, and now I move into a different, and you were working also. So you also had to balance your work, your service, and raising the child. So how did you know what is enough and when is enough?
Actually, I was not working, sister. When I moved to Singapore, I never worked after he born. Before he born, only I used to work. Yeah.
but still
Yeah,
the whole feeling.
Yeah, I was involving in service here in the center. So, but I used to make sure that, when he was at home and, I used to be there, or he is coming to the center when he was young, he used to involve in service. So that, yeah, maybe Brother Srini can share not only this and even in terms of financially, how much we have to really do for the children. And that is also, we also learned many lessons because, while, yeah, being with him and so, we have learned many lessons actually.
Yeah, because right now my daughter is 10, and as you said, from 5 onward, she's coming. So it's very easy to get her whenever I have to come to the center. She comes. But when they are in the teenage phase is what I want to know. Then how do you balance? Because that time they have their own mind. They are not going to come with you. Then how much giving? Because they also need emotional support as a teenager. And then you doing your service. So yeah, my question is just that.
Yes, sister, I think it's a wonderful question, really great question. And I think, as the child goes through different stages, like, now your daughter is about 10 years old, definitely she needs more of your time, guidance and everything. So once she gets into teenage, it is different because they develop their own mindset and they had their own friends and everything. So definitely they still need their emotional support in whatever way. So how we used to do, I mean, in terms of our, son, where, Maha used to take care of everything. And again, when there is a kind of seva outside, she used to cook and she used to balance and everything and look after the service. And when there is a need, especially when there are exams or where more focus, more attention is needed. And we used to balance that, maybe sometimes I take more of the service and she takes care of the kid, or sometimes, the vice versa. And when he gets into teenage age, and that's where we see a bit of like, he don't need us. I mean, basically, yes, he needs some kind of emotional support and whatever that he needs. But again, we can't influence much. And because he used to have his own mindset and own thinking pattern as well. So I used to say to Maha as well, let's leave to him. And, whenever, of course, we never compromise taking him for any kind of outings or some holiday trips. We always used to balance that. It doesn't mean like, we cut off all the things. And, maybe 1 or 2 times in a year, we used to go for, some holiday trips. And when he's at home, when there is a kind of chance, just chit chat kind of things, that's where we used to inspire him. Though we are not really forced at any point of time, we used to inspire him, just quoting the examples of what he used to share when he was too young. And when he listened to that, sometimes he used to maul, oh, yeah. I mean, I used to do that. I mean, definitely, I need to get back. I definitely, I need that, kind of energy. So again, it's used to slowly fades away. So it doesn't sustain, but again, we, both myself and Maha, we understand that, yes, we need to make a line where we need to surrender this to Baba. I mean, we are just trustees, as Baba always says, like, you are just an instrument and your home is just a service place. And these people are your service companions and you just take care of them. So we used to draw the line, and when he is so reluctant, and sometimes he used to be so adamant during the teenage time. And we have to accept it. We can't force him. And so sometimes I used to let go of him. And even when he decided to go to UK, and which is going to cost so much of money, it's not a small amount, and a couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I don't know whether, is this a right decision? Because in Singapore, we had a super duper universities, famous universities, but he wanted to go to UK. So I don't know whether to give the support or not. I was a little bit confused. And then, of course, whenever there is a confusion, I always depend on Didi or, Dadis. So that time I was in Madhuban, myself and Maha, and we went to meet Didi Nirmala. And I explained everything. This is what it is. And, my son, I mean, she knows a little bit about my son as well. He used to be adamant. He doesn't listen to anyone, but he wants to go to UK. But there are universities in Singapore, very good universities, world famous universities, but we are asking him to study here. Then she asked me only one thing. Srinibai, would you be able to afford for him if he goes to UK? I said, yes, probably. I mean, with my current financial situation, I can able to afford. But my only concern, worry is, he is not really following Gyan. And if we let go of him, that is where I'm so concerned, not about money. Then she advised us, let him go. Let him study without any second thought. So this is where, sister, at times we get confused, at different points of time, where to draw the line, where to just let go of it, and how much we need to involve. And I always take the decisions or suggestions from, either Dadi Janki or Didi at that point of time. And then whatever they say is like a Baba's order. So that's where we agreed. I mean, though we are not ready to send him, but we said this is Baba's decision. And then, of course, he studied and came back. And of course, he has his own thinking. I mean, of course, nothing great what we expected. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just that, we really surrendered that feelings and whatever, drama reveals. That's it. So yeah. I mean, it depends, sister, sometimes they may.
Yeah, no, so nice. So it's wherever priority was supposed to be given, you gave the priority. And then wherever you were confused, and you just took sustenance from center people or from Didis or from Dadis. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's one thing I wanted to add to this actually. So one thing should be, we should be, sometimes we think being in Baba's path, we should always be loving, but we should never forget we should be lawful also. Especially when it comes to children, if at all in any way, if they are not, it's not that following Baba's path, but as a parents, it's our duty to put them when they were young. We can't take that law into our hands with the adults, but when it comes to our children as a parents, it's our duty to draw the line to them. So otherwise, and because I have been seeing, many children also nowadays, many of them asking, where to, draw the line. Should I be too loving? No, that, along with love, there should be the law. And we should apply the knowledge and whether to do sometimes we feel bad to be strong. Yes, externally, but one thing I've seen, all the time we are strong externally in certain aspects, but internally, am I getting affected? That is the most important thing. So internally, sometimes we used to be strong with him, and then we go back and we laugh at each other. And one day he noticed, oh, you scolded me, and then you are laughing here. So that it's like sometimes we have to be strong and where we have to be. So it's not negative, but we have to be firm no matter what. No, sorry, I can't do this for you. So unless you are doing this. So we have to, that is very important while growing. It shouldn't be like, so nice and, all the time. Nice means, yes, we are love. We have to be loving, and we have to respect the soul, but at the same time, because they're immature, they don't know. There's so many pulls in this day's world. Maybe our generation is much more different, but there are so many things are pulling outside. Many of parents are struggling a lot. So during the teenage years, we have to face a lot of things. We have to be loving and lawful. Both has to be there.
Thank you very much, Srinibai and Mahaben, for this very passionate sharing, and definitely you really ignited a lot of bhavna for Baba in everyone of us now. So if you may take a few minutes to guide us into some meditation, and then we can wrap up. Thank you.
So what I suggest you sit and then relax, and then feel the spiritual energy. When I think me, I don't need to tell myself I the soul. The moment I think I means it is the soul, I am referring to the soul. Before we come to Gyan, I means we are referring to mostly the body. But now I means the soul. So feel the flow of that energy through my body, every cell of my body. And if we consider this body is like a home, now it's time for me to let go of this home, leave this home, the physical home, the temporary home which we are living, which I am living. Now it's time for me to go back to my eternal home. where I have come from. So it's like how easily we will, we lock the doors of our physical home, and then when we want to go out, in the same way, the work before we go home to the soul world, we need to carefully lock this physical house. Right, wherever we go, we make sure that we are turning off all the lights and then not locking up the place, and then we are going out. In the same way, make sure you leave this physical home first before going to that home. Make sure this is completely disconnected. So let us now think of that every part of our body, the spiritual light of the soul is fully there in every part of my body. So now slowly let me switch off. Like consider each part of the body is like a room. Like left leg is one room, right leg is another room, right hand and left hand. So consider that each part of my body is like a room, and then just with one thought, like one switch, how we switch off the light, and then with the awareness is the key here, the switch here, switch off that light to my left leg, and switching off the light to my right leg. Now I'm switching off the light, means that energy, the flow of that spiritual energy. I'm switching off completely to my left hand. Now another room is my right hand. Now you see that corridor or whatever the area, my middle body is. Now I'm turning off that light. Now I'm aware of my head region, where all the light is, which is like a living room. Now I have turned off lights to all the rooms of my house, and then I have just entered a living area where there is full of light. Now I have slowly turned off the switch to the living room, and now I have turned on to a small lamp, just one night lamp I have switched on. That is my true self, which is located in the center of my forehead. My entire house is dark now. Only light I could see in the center of my forehead. And that light is full of purity. The purity is the original nature of that light. And let me feel the flow of the purity in my every thought. Let that energy flow, radiate. Let that energy radiate from the soul. Spread it all around. The vibrations of purity spreading to the entire place where I am sitting. And those vibrations of purity spreading to the entire area. And I can feel those vibrations of purity is spreading to all the surroundings. And is reaching out to the entire world. I feel like this entire universe is filled with just energy of purity. And in that vibrations of purity, I can lift myself up so easily. And I, the spirit, moving through so easily, going up above, beyond this world, and enter the world of purity. The world of true spiritual home, my true home, where there is nothing but purity. And I'm right in front of the ocean of purity. I'm just floating the waves of purity. My heart is like a clean white paper. That white paper, Baba is writing a new story for me. Like a just born new innocent kid. I'm starting my new journey from there. Baba is filling me with all virtues and powers. Now I can see the white sheet of my mind, only nothing but purity, peace, love, all divine powers. Baba is sending me to the new world again. Child, you go. Go there. This newly created world is just for you. And experience the true joy of living. When I see myself in a new home, a newly built home, with the vibrations of purity, peace, love, that home is filled with everything, where I am in my own innocence. I do not know anything else except being pure. And everyone around me in that home is also like me. Pure beings. I could feel a sense of belongingness to everybody. We're absolutely pure, like gods and goddesses. Though I am not consciously aware, but in my heart, that love which I have experienced from Baba is my full, complete heart is filled with that pure love, and I am spreading that love. And now that world is growing into bigger and bigger. The entire humanity is again filled with everything, and that is a perfect home. Which is created by God. which is desired by every human being. Now I experience that light in front of me. Now I'm slowly back into the awareness of my old home. But my vision is very clear in front of me. Why Baba has chosen me. What is the kind of work Baba is expecting me to do in order to build such a wonderful world I need to do. The God's work of spreading with purity, cleaning this entire world with the vibrations of my own purity. Now I'm very much aware of my task. It's not my task, it's the task of God, where I am instrument. My heart and soul is completely surrendered to Baba in fulfilling his task. I'm just a trustee. Baba is using me as an instrument. Thank you, Baba. Om Shanti.